Little
Mics are going
stand
on.
for your laptop right here.
The public hearing of February 24th, 2026 will now please come to order at 6:45 PM. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Broussard, Ms. Carr,
Here.
Ms. Gilchrist,
Here.
Mr. Limpert,
Present.
Mr. Madden,
Here.
Mr. Murray,
Here.
Mr. Scarl,
Present.
Mr. Shamsky.
Here.
Thank you. I would like to remind council that public hearings allow us to hear public comments. You may follow up to audience comments, but there will be a committee meeting scheduled for more in-depth questioning. Will the clerk please read the first issue before council this evening?
Ordinance 2025-100, an ordinance providing for the amendment of the zone map of the city of North Olmsted by rezoning permanent parcel number 236-10-015 from A1 Family Residence District to Plan Development 1157.
As information for the audience, there is no vote taken on this rezoning legislation this evening. This public hearing allows the public to speak to the specific rezoning piece of legislation. The public hearing is required by our charter, and we, the administration and council, are required to follow the process. The next step in this process is a Building, Zoning, and Development Committee meeting, which is council's work session of sorts. It is open to the public, but there's no public comment period. Once the legislation is moved out of that committee, the legislation will go on to have its second and third readings and will be voted on after its third reading. So if there's anyone in the audience who would like to address council on ordinance 2025-100 only, please come to the podium, state and spell your name and address for the clerk. If you live in any other city than North Olmsted, please state your name of that city and proceed with your comments. You will have up to 5 minutes.
My name is Robert Perry. I live at 27150 Butternut Ridge Road. I've lived there since about 1974. And I'd like to make a few additional comments. I've made previous comments to the council. I'd like to make comments of why I think this rezoning is really inappropriate for this location and for this street. And I'm saying that from my experience in two areas. One, as a homeowner of a house that's 100 years old, and I understand the work and the cost of trying to maintain a century home. And also as a city planner and a development director for over 60 years. I've worked on zoning plans, land use plans, testified in common pleas court, testified in federal courts on zoning matters, and I have a lot of experience in land use and zoning and the effects of actions that planning commissions and councils take on various zoning issues. And I can say that if the council decides to rezone land to allow multifamily homes or apartments, townhouses or whatever you want to call it, on Butternut Ridge Road, a historic district, and is all single-family zoning. This will not be the last of that kind of rezoning. It will just be the first that will have a tremendous effect on the historic district and a tremendous effect on the people who live on this street. Two things are probably going to happen if the council so decides to vote for this rezoning and it gets developed as multifamily. One, it will send up a flag to developers in the area that Butternut Ridge Road is open for development of not single-family homes, but multifamily homes. They could already build single-family homes on this property, but it will alert developers that this is the first step, and it's going to be a precedent set that will be used by future developers and future attorneys to nibble away at the historic district. And there'll be more rezoning requests, and you'll be hard pressed to say no. And if you do say no, you'll certainly end up in court. And the other effect it will have is a lot of people who live in historic homes and have spent a lot of blood, sweat, and tear and money maintaining those homes will probably stop maintaining those homes as they have. And the homes will start to deteriorate, which will then make it easier for developers to come in, tear down the house, and put in new development. So I would say you have a big decision to make that will have lasting result on this community. And I certainly hope that you determine that this is really an inappropriate rezoning for this location. Thank you.
My name is Robert Sharp, 25407 Butternut Ridge, a resident here for 47 years. I've already submitted written reports analyzing the 2025 master plan and the historic district guidelines and shown the inappropriateness of this development. When we first started this out, I got these documents and I was looking for the information in there that would support this proposal. There's nothing. I was stunned reading these. There is nothing in either document. Quite the contrary. Public opinion was used in planning, putting together the 2025 master plan. Both documents are saturated with information and intentions of preserving the historic district, the exact opposite of what's been proposed. And I've submitted these reports, and I'm not going to go over that again. When the attorney was in here last time representing the developer, he made a couple of interesting points that have stuck in my mind. One reason was that, well, the developer has already spent a lot of money. Well, so have we all spent a lot of money living in this historic district, hundreds of thousands of dollars to purchase and maintain our homes and maintain the character of the historic district. These old homes are expensive to maintain. He also made a mention here, and I'll paraphrase because I don't remember exactly that. He drove down Butternut Ridge and he saw all the preserve the historic district signs. But, and again, I'm just paraphrasing, was that these really don't, public opinion really doesn't matter. It matters what's in the written documents, if I'm correct on this, what was said, and the 2025 master plan. But input from the residents was used to form the master plan. So it does matter. The public opinion was strongly shown in these documents that they want this historic district preserved. It's been chipped away at enough over the years. We've lost a lot on Butternut. It's been a struggle. But I hope that the analysis that's been submitted of these two documents should put this over the top for you making your decision to deny this request, because it's saturated with information on why you should deny it. And thank you very much.
Excuse me. I'll make it. My name's John Adamczyk, 6014 Sandpiper Lane. Last time I asked a simple question and I've yet to hear an answer. And the question is this: someone, council, who at some point in time thought it was important to establish a historic district here in North Olmsted. And that's lasted for I don't know how many years. And now there seems to be a motive to change. I know you're not going to answer that question as to why, but may I suggest something? At some point in time, whatever the outcome, why don't you consider writing a letter to Westlife explaining why the change or why the need to maintain the historic district? Inform the residents of North Olmsted about your decision. That would go a long way, I believe, to establish the credibility of the managers, town managers. Thank you.
Mr. President Pro Tem.
Councilman?
You asked the question, sir. I'm not aware of any council member who said they want to abandon the historic district. I mean, unless you have heard something different, I've been in meetings, I've been in these sessions, I haven't heard any council person say they want to get rid of the historic district in any of these sessions, so, yeah, that's factually correct.
Do you think that putting in family dwellings would destroy the historic district?
Sir, we're not gonna discuss any.
Well,
stuff
no,
like
but
that.
I will comment, I don't think any of us has said that we want to.
I'm sorry.
I don't think any of us has made the proposal to do so. This is the first time that this is before this council
No,
in,
I've
in the
been
public
here
hearing.
Once before. This is not the first time.
This is the first time that this piece of proposal is in front of our council for a public hearing for us to review and have a meeting on and vote on.
Well, maybe they can inform me, what was the previous meeting about?
Mr.
I don't wanna
Chairman,
waste your
the
time.
previous meetings were the Planning Design Commission. There was also a meeting before the Landmarks Commission. This issue, although it has been spoken about over a number of different months, at this meeting was because people wanted to come up and speak. It wasn't actually an issue before this body until now. They are not. They would have been. Yeah, we're splitting hairs because the issue is that this is the first time that the issue is formally before this board. You could come up to any meeting to speak about any issue at any point, but it hasn't been set for an actual hearing with these guys. And I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. We asked people to speak on any issue Okay, good point. That's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Law Director, Mr. President Pro Tem.
Good evening. My name is Hannah Matthews, and I live at 26610 Butternut Ridge Road. I first want to just acknowledge what a beautiful group of people has been coming here before you on a regular basis with peace and kindness and compassion and real community. And I think that that speaks volumes. I've spoken about this before, so just a little reminder. Rezoning this property is a bit of a slap in the face. I've had two very close neighbors who have asked to split a property where there are two parcels on one, two homes on one parcel. That was met with a hard no. Another family asked to build a mother-in-law suite for their family. Also, hard no. And these are pretty recent requests that have been denied. So if you can't offer that to our community members personally, it just feels like an attack, or maybe not an attack, but just injustice if you're going to let somebody else have those opportunities. That's all. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bill Rhodes. I live at 25800 Butternut Ridge Road. I'm coming before you on a personal note on how this is going to affect me as an individual. My property is right next door. And I have a 93-year-old mother, and her bedroom will be 25 feet from the entrance to the subdivision. And her heart is broken. She's going to die listening to chainsaws and the front loaders, concrete trucks, all those things that are going to tear Butternut Ridge Road up. You know, this is going to go on for 1.5 to 3 years. Bull, 3+ years. I don't think anybody quite realizes what this entails. I live next door. Have you seen it back there? Oh my gosh. Chainsaws, front loaders, dump trucks. It will be holy, excuse my language, but hell. Thank you for your time.
My name is Ed Wiles. I'm at 25746 Butternut Ridge Road. I think it's a good reminder that that gentleman made that this is really the first time this legislation is before the committee that makes a decision on really the future of our neighborhood. And just a reminder, I mean, many of us, I don't want to say fight, but we've been defending our homes, it's what it feels like, and our properties and the value of that property and our neighbors for many months with a little bit of frustration. And I just to summate, the initial issue was the historic value, and we want to preserve that of our neighborhood. Most of us moved to this neighborhood because we fell in love with our homes and have invested in them ever since. The other issues of traffic and infrastructure have been mentioned several times, but no clear-cut solutions have been offered. And it just seems to me foolish to add to both those issues, you know, water issues and traffic issues. You don't want to add to a problem that you already have by adding and changing, again, the fabric of the neighborhood. So I would just ask that you preserve any open bodies of land along Butternut Ridge, and there's several, just maintain them as single-family home dwellings. Thank you.
Steve Clark, 257-95 Butternut Ridge Road. I want to thank all of you. You have heard a lot over the past months, and it's a tough call. I've said that from day one. You got a very difficult job, but it's just inappropriate that the historic district of Butternut, which is, and I'm kind of very historically, motivated. So, but also we moved there because we just love the community. What this gentleman said, they all said, reflects our heartfelt thing. We don't need any more controversy in North Olmsted. We need to move forward. And so we respectfully ask you to search your conscience. Thank you.
My name's Dale Hugo, 5370 Columbia Road. I live outside of the actual district, but pretty adjacent to it. And my wife and I spent many years in another state in New Jersey where they have historic districts that are multi-hundreds of years old. And when we saw the proposal, we were just in absolute shock and horror that the city of North Olmsted would consider altering a historic district. It just goes against every fiber of what we should be doing as a community. Lately, we've been developing every square inch in this city that we seem to be able to develop. And some of that seems to make sense. It's good land and good purpose. But in this case, we are totally opposed to this. Thank you.
Chairman, if I may, can the council tell the people what the Planning and Design Commission did on December 17th on the memo? Or would you like me to speak on it?
Oh, you can speak on it. That's fine.
They
But
made a
Mr. President, just to know, we're sensitive to time here because we
Just
only have
10
another
minutes left.
10
Okay.
minutes, so we want to make sure we keep.
the motion to recommend approval to City Council of the condition that the preliminary plan be finalized was approved and made by Mr. David and seconded by Mr. D'Alessandro, and the motion was denied 4-0. That's where we take our recommendations from. So just so you guys know that. That's all.
My name is Catherine Soltis. I live at 26723 Butternut Ridge Road. I have also, believe it or not, lived there for 47 years. I moved there when I was a child. My parents bought the house. And then later, my husband and I bought it from my mom before she passed away. So, I mean, I've been there a very long time. And I don't understand why Butternut is targeted like the way it is, because it's just going to be awful. I mean, the traffic is already bad. It took us like 10 minutes to get out of the driveway tonight. It's just going to change everything. So hopefully, it is decided not to do this. I just don't think it's a good idea. I mean, there are other areas in the city that are going to be open. They're like the school lots that have been sold, the old primary schools. There'll be development there. There's land at the end of North Olmsted by North Ridgeville. So I'm just not sure why, if this is designated a historic district, why we want to go changing that. Doesn't make any sense to me. Thanks.
Good evening. Mary Ellen Heeman, 132 Greenwood Way South, North Olmsted, Ohio. Average regular citizen. Good to see you guys. Couple things. The first is that, as you know, I have represented this group of people proudly in the past for 12 years. I have stood with them on many issues regarding windows for their homes. They've been denied vinyl windows. No, you have to redo your windows. There's no, expert to redo their windows. They wanted siding. I had to come up here, and take Landmarks Commission to the mat to get someone siding. Siding that was the same siding that they used to repair the Jefferson Memorial. That was the investment that resident was making, just to not have to paint his house every 2 or 3 years because of the cost and his age. So I have been with them for a very long time. The biggest thing that I want you to know was that I was with Mayor Jones when she campaigned for her first term. We stood in the living rooms of some of these folks. We stood on their front porches and at their doors, and she promised them that there would be no development because apparently 10 or 20 years ago, however long it was, another mayor had tried to make a development on Butternut Ridge, and that failed spectacularly, thank God. So that was a campaign promise. 2 years into the first term, I felt a little betrayed because the economic development director brought a development to be placed on the south side of Butternut, and in part taking a corner of the golf course, our crown jewel. And that shut down very quickly. Grateful I am that it got shut down quickly. And then now, here it is again, another development proposed. And the thing that I will tell you, that in my 12 years of representing these folks and that historic district, they don't get a budget for pretty flowers or brick walkways. They don't get anything. They are only burdened with the requirements imposed by the Landmarks Commission. They have to spend a lot of money on their homes, and they don't get anything except the enjoyment of their homes. They're happy to do that. The biggest issue really is, so in 12 years of representing this group of people and their historic district, this is the very first time a developer ever got through this far. And the reason is because as their council person, that developer would start with me. Tony George even called me one day. I had a 40-minute meeting with him going, no, 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 no. So you know what? The only reason that this got this far is because somehow, somewhere in our process, I believe that they were encouraged. And I think that that's wrong. I stood firm and told every developer that called me, I'm a hard no. I will always be. We have to put, if you want that, you have to go through landmarks. You have to, go through planning, zoning. It has to be rezoned. You have to put in sewers and pay for them. Unfortunately now, wheelin' and dealin', a developer thought, well, they were going to get what they wanted. And I strongly am asking that you just reject this fully because it is not necessary. The project doesn't fit at all into the scheme of things. In the single-family homes, these are custom-built homes. Each one of them is different. And honestly, I just hope that you hear all of that and, vote no and do not let this go forward. Thank you.
Tony Sapienza, 25760 Butternut Ridge Road.
Excuse me, Mr. Sapienza, excuse me, right here. You will be the last speaker. This will end at 7:15, so
Okay.
take care.
Okay. I'll make it
you.
quick. Before the winter, if you drove down Butternut Ridge, you seen a sign in front of everybody's house. Maybe one or two there wasn't a sign, but there was a sign in front of everybody's house. The adjacent streets, signs in front. It shows you how passionate people are, the residents of North Olmsted, not just the Butternut Ridge, on preserving our historic district. If it gets rezoned, there's no going back. There's no stopping what will be in the future. We need to stop this here, protect and preserve our historic district for the future of everybody. There's need for development. Nobody's against development, but where we develop is the key here, is the question. Right now, Butternut Ridge is not the place to target cluster homes. It's a single family residence. And that's the way we want to keep it. We want to keep it that way. We want to keep it historical. We don't want it destroyed, wiped out by cluster homes. One development, then the next development, then the next development. Then there is no historic district. We lost the heart of North Olmsted if we allow this proposal to rezone Butternut Ridge. So I just respectfully ask, all of you to keep all of these residents in mind, all the city of North Olmsted. Help us protect Butternut Ridge, preserve our historic district. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak for 2 minutes? Please come to the podium.
I'll give this a shot. Marcus Masello. I'm at 27875 Gardenia Drive. So if you take a look at me, this is my first meeting here, but if you take a look, I'm about, I wouldn't say about 20 years younger than the average age here. So the reason I came here is because I moved here less than 2 years ago. So I'm a very new member here of this community. I love it. My wife and I lived here. I'm an Army veteran. I've lived down in Georgia. I grew up in Youngstown. My wife's from Detroit, and we made North Olmsted our home here. So I just decided to come to this meeting on a whim because I love history, and I heard about this development, and I thought it was a shame, but I know we have to follow our procedures. We must do what's right. We must give this developer their due up to a certain point, but I do urge you to vote no. I drive that road every day. I'm a federal employee. I drive Butternut Ridge down to 480. It's already congested. I can only imagine. And I admire the history every day, whether it's winter, fall, summer. I get to see these beautiful century homes that I can only hope that my grandchildren will get to see one day in the future. So I just urge you, if anything, please don't do these multi-cluster homes. Maybe consider single-family homes, but let's not get there just yet. So let's settle this now and represent the new generation of North Olmsted, my age, as we make our way into this great new community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The public comment is now closed. Council appreciates you coming out this evening and sharing your opinions on this matter. Thank you. This time, now 7:15, will the clerk please read the next issue before council this evening?
Ordinance 2026-6, an ordinance providing for the amendment of the zone map of the city of North Olmsted by rezoning permanent parcel number 236-17-018 from mixed use A district to general business district B-3.
Statement from the Economic Development Director could not be here this evening. However, I will read his statement with regard to this rezoning legislation. The Economic and Community Development Department has been in contact with the applicant regarding the limitations of the existing zoning code. As a reminder, the subject parcel was rezoned in furtherance of the goals set forth in the 2015 Comprehensive Plan. The existing site and building do not conform to the current zoning code. Currently, the minimum development area for a mixed-use district is 10 acres, and restaurants without a drive-through are permitted. The current mixed code does not allow for a drive-through. Due to the significant restrictions on the site imposed in its current zoning, and with the advice of the law department, I advise the applicant to pursue a rezoning. The contemplated use for the rezoning is a Culver's. However, it is our task to look at this narrowly as a matter of whether or not this parcel can be appropriately developed under the code and whether or not it is in conformance with the 2025 Comprehensive Plan. It is the position of the department that rezoning the parcel is congruent with the goal of encouraging infill development on vacant and underutilized parcels to maximize infrastructure investments and reduce pressure on the undeveloped land. Further, the subject parcel has sat vacant since this rezoning. The lack of redevelopment can be, in part, attributed to the limitations of the current zoning. The rezoning matter was unanimously approved by the Planning Commission. That concludes this statement. So if there is anyone in the audience who would like to address council on ordinance 2026-6 only, please come to the podium, state and spell your name and address for the clerk. If you live in a city other than North Olmsted, please state the name of the city and proceed with your comments. You will have up to 3 minutes. Seeing none, thank you. The public comment is now closed. Is there a motion on the floor to excuse the absence of Council President Broussard?
So moved.
Second.
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 Motion made by Councilman Limpert, seconded by Councilman Madden. Roll call, please.
Mr. Limpert,
Yes.
Mr. Madden,
Yes.
Mr. Mari,
Yes.
Ms. Carr,
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist,
Yes.
Mr. Shimsky,
Yes.
Mr. Scarl.
Yes. Council President Broussard is excused by a vote of 7-0. With the agenda being completed, this public hearing of February 24th, 2026 is adjourned at 7:19 p.m.